It began with a whisper, a pulsing signal detected by an aging deep space array in the Kuiper belt. What was initially thought to be a cometary echo soon revealed a complex, repeating sequence. Buried beneath the static was a language that hadn't been spoken for over 10,000 years. Humanity, now a mid-tier species in the galactic community, had long believed their early interstellar endeavors had been erased by time. But the signal changed everything. At the heart of the mystery was the Ophion, a legendary Class 105 worldship. Built during humanity's first golden age of expansion, the Ophion had vanished during a cataclysmic civil war that preceded Earth's integration into the Galactic Confederation. Larger than most moons, capable of housing entire biomes and manufacturing entire fleets, the ship had long passed into myth, even among humans themselves. Dr. Arlen Voss, a xenotech linguist and historical systems analyst, was among the first to interpret the signal's core frequency. The moment she translated the opening line, core command sequence initiated, awaiting air validation. The implications were staggering. The Ophion wasn't just functional, it was waiting for a human. The news didn't stay on Earth. The signal, traveling faster than light via quantum echo, echoed through dozens of alien empires. One of them was the Zrithi hegemony, a warlike expansionist species infamous for their hunger for ancient technology. To the Zrithi, the Ophion wasn't just a ship, it was a weapon, a throne, and a threat. Its reactivation meant the return of a race once feared. The Builders, as ancient humanity was known in galactic legend. Earth's political leaders, caught between awe and panic, convened an emergency council. While their military was no match for the more advanced species of the Confederation, the Ophion changed the game. If they could reach it first, if they could reclaim it, humanity would no longer be seen as a minor planetary culture, but a returning superpower. Voss's research revealed that the ship had been keyed biologically to its creators, with access granted only to those carrying a specific gene imprint. That imprint had been lost for generations, or so it was thought. Scans confirmed Voss herself carried an ancestral match, making her a living key to the ship. Unknown to Earth, however, the Zrithi had already mobilized. Using cloaked vessels, they approached the Sol system preparing to strike. Their objective wasn't to destroy Earth but to capture Voss and anyone else tied to the Ophion's control systems. Meanwhile, strange activity continued around Neptune's orbit. Satellites began failing. Gravity anomalies spiked. The Ophion was waking up, its systems cycling through dormant protocols. Somewhere aboard the ancient worldship, its AI, Heliarch, had begun piecing together fragmented orders preparing to return to service under its rightful command. The world didn't know it yet, but it had just become the most important target in the galaxy. The countdown had begun, and the Builders, whether ready or not, were about to reclaim their throne. The Ophion signal hadn't just awoken Earth's curiosity, it had drawn predators. Within days of Dr. Arlen Voss's genetic connection to the ship being confirmed, cloaked alien vessels breached the outer Sol defense grid. The Zrithi hegemony, one of the most feared war blocks in the galaxy, had come. Their goal wasn't conquest, it was precision extraction. They wanted Voss alive, and they wanted the Ophion's command codes. The first strikes were surgical. Orbital research stations went dark within seconds. Communications relays near Jupiter burst into flame. On Earth, the attack began in silence. Zrithi infiltration, pods coated in phase-cloaking alloys, dropped through the atmosphere and embedded themselves near high-value targets, spaceport command centers, tech labs, and most critically, the secure research site where Voss was being held. Dr. Voss, now Earth's most valuable asset, found herself trapped inside a fortified mountain complex under siege. Armed only with her mind, she was escorted through emergency corridors by Commander Lys Tyrannus, the Black Ops leader of Earth's covert stellar defense corps. Tyrannus was cold, efficient, and unshaken. His job was simple: keep Voss alive at all costs. Above the planet, Earth's defense grid groaned under the Zrithi's opening salvo. The alien fleet wasn't massive. It didn't need to be. Its technology was decades ahead, capable of melting satellites from orbit and overriding local AI-controlled systems. Earth's orbital weapons scored a few lucky hits, but for every alien craft destroyed, another slipped through. What the Zerathi hadn't anticipated was resistance. Humanity wasn't what it had been when they joined the Confederation. Quietly, Earth had been building. Military tech disguised as asteroid miners, stealth drones camouflaged as orbital debris, and strike teams like Tyrannuses. All of it was ready, waiting for the moment someone challenged Earth's right to exist. As Voss and Tyrannus escaped the mountain facility via underground mag rail, Zerathi strike teams flooded into the area. Gunfights erupted in abandoned tunnels. Earth's special forces fought like cornered beasts, outgunned but not outmatched. Tyrannus's team laid traps, used the terrain, and turned the Zerathi's arrogance against them. In orbit, a second Zerathi wave began deploying boarding drones toward Luna Base 1, a strategic data center with archived telemetry on the Ophians. Location. If the aliens accessed those files, they could bypass Earth entirely and go straight to the ship. But they underestimated Earth's desperation. A self-destruct protocol was triggered remotely by the Luna Base commander, annihilating the entire installation in a controlled fusion blast. The sacrifice prevented the Zerathi from gaining access, but it came at a cost. Dozens dead, and Earth's link to deep space archives severed. Back on Earth, Tyrannus and Voss reached a hidden stellar defense bunker. There, Voss revealed a terrifying insight. The Ophian wasn't just calling out, it was responding. Her presence near the ancient command systems had activated deeper protocols. Worse, the ship had begun cycling its weapon systems, targeting any vessel within a 10 million kilometer radius that wasn't tagged as builder-class friendly. The Zerathi had forced Earth's hand. Operation Lockstep was activated. Earth was now in open war. Earth was bleeding, but it wasn't broken. The Zerathi had expected a fractured primitive world clinging to fading myths. What they found instead was a planet hardened by centuries of survival, adaptation, and silent preparation. The attack had unified Earth's fractured governments into a single voice. Old rivals set aside grudges. Corporations surrendered private fleets to the Stellar Defense Corps. The declaration was unanimous. Operation Lockstep was go. While the Zerathi continued precision strikes on Earth's infrastructure, Commander Lys Tyrannus led counterintelligence operations that crippled several alien forward teams. Using EMP disruptors disguised as civilian tech, human forces exposed cloaked units, forced them into direct confrontation, and eliminated them with ruthlessness that startled even their own commanders. But humanity's real weapon wasn't firepower, it was lineage. Dr. Arlen Voss had begun deciphering the Ophian's activation pattern. Her DNA wasn't just a match, it was an ancestral cipher. The Ophian's core AI, Heliarch, had been programmed to respond only to direct descendants of its original engineers, those who had once been called the Builders. It was a safeguard designed to prevent hijacking during the war that had exiled the ship. As Voss dove deeper into the genetic command matrix, she realized that her access wasn't just unlocking the ship, it was restarting it. Faint messages and log entries from 10,000 years ago began flooding her interface. Ship schematics, terraforming protocols, war strategies. It was as if a ghost of ancient humanity had been waiting patiently. And now, it recognized her as kin. Meanwhile, a daring raid led by Tyrannus targeted a recently downed Zerathi command vessel in low Venusian orbit. His team braved radiation storms and enemy patrols to retrieve the alien data core. The intel inside confirmed humanity's worst fears. The Zerathi knew where the Ophian was, and they were already on the move. The Ophian wasn't in the asteroid field as previously thought. It had moved. Using dormant planetary gravity wells and hidden propulsion bursts, the ship had repositioned itself, likely through automated defensive instincts. Its current location, the outer edge of Neptune's orbit, concealed by ice debris and sensor-disrupting quantum fog. In a high-level emergency meeting aboard Earth's orbital command carrier Resolve, human leaders debated their next move. The ER plan was risky. Launch a multi-ship escort with Voss aboard, make contact with the Ophion before the Zrathi arrived, and activate its full defensive network. The gamble? Earth's entire future rested on a half-functional fleet, an ancient AI, and a scientist with builder DNA. Voss, now fully aware of her genetic heritage, accepted her role. Not as a soldier, not as a leader, but as a link to humanity's forgotten empire. She wasn't just unlocking a ship, she was waking up history. The Ophion's latest broadcast echoed through space like a war drum. Core air detected. Defensive initialization, 62% complete. Orbital authorization required. The builder's legacy wasn't lost. It had been waiting, and now it was armed. The Ophion stirred like a slumbering titan, shaking off millennia of silence. Around Neptune's orbit, the massive Worldship emerged from its self-imposed crypt, cloaked beneath ice fragments and gravitational anomalies. Over 400 kilometers in diameter, it was no ordinary vessel. It was a mobile civilization. Forests still breathed within its sealed ecosystems. Engines hummed low like the growl of an apex predator, and ancient lights blinked on, scanning for one thing, a builder, and it had found her. Aboard the UEN Vanguard, Earth's hastily assembled escort fleet carried Dr. Arlen Voss into the outer system. With her neural link calibrated to builder command frequencies, she established contact with the Ophion from millions of kilometers away. The AI, Heliarch, responded immediately. Command authority confirmed. Defense permissions elevated, initiating kinship protocol. The ship's systems surged with power. Orbiting asteroids were gently nudged aside by graviton fields. Dormant, weapon platforms activated with silent precision, mass drivers, antimatter torpedoes, and phase disruptor grids centuries ahead of modern tech. The Ophion wasn't just waking up. It was preparing for war. The Zrathi, arriving in system with a full strike armada, believed the Ophion was ripe for the taking. They expected a hollow relic, a derelict prize they could pry open and claim. Instead, they found a throne already occupied. Commander Lys Tyrannus deployed counter-fleet measures. Human forces couldn't match the Zrathi in numbers or technology, but now they had the Ophion. Using Voss's interface, Tyrannus uploaded targeting data to Heliarch. Within seconds, precision railfire from the Worldship annihilated the first wave of Zrathi corvettes. It wasn't a battle. It was an execution. But the Zrathi weren't retreating. They were doubling down. Their flagship, the Karvek Rend, launched boarding capsules toward the Ophion, desperate to override its systems manually. Voss and a joint strike team intercepted the pods mid-flight, boarding them in zero-G with magnetic boots and jury-rigged boarding weapons. In the chaos of space, humans fought claw-to-claw against genetically engineered Zrathi enforcers, buying time for the Ophion to fully engage. At the heart of the Worldship, Heliarch's core lit up like a star. Voss, now fully linked to the AI, was no longer just commanding the ship, she was synchronizing with it. The builder neural patterns recognized her as a descendant and began adapting the ship's systems to her biology. She wasn't just a passenger now, she was captain. Across human command, a message was transmitted on all frequencies. Earth has reawakened. The throne is claimed. We are the heirs of the empire you feared. Withdraw, or be buried in our return. The Zrathi didn't listen. They pressed forward. But as the Ophion's main fusion lances came online and the stars began to burn with weapon fire, one thing became painfully clear to every species watching. Humanity hadn't just found their past, they had reclaimed their empire. The Zrathi believed they were the predators of the galaxy, undisputed, unchallenged, and supreme. But now, for the first time in generations, they hesitated. The Ophion, once thought a myth, was real, active, and controlled by a descendant of the very civilization the Zrathi had feared since their own starfaring dawn, and it was angry. Dr. Arlen Voss stood at the core of the command nexus deep inside the Ophion, her neural interface stabilized, her consciousness partially integrated with Heliarch, the ship's ancient AI. With every passing moment, more of the Ophion came online. Defense matrices snapped into position. Shipyards activated. Drone swarms the size of cities launched from its lower hull, forming a screen of destruction between Earth's battered fleet and the encroaching Zrathi. The Karvek Rend, the Zrathi flagship, issued a final ultimatum. Surrender the Ophion, surrender the air, or Earth dies screaming. They received no response, just a single return transmission. This worldship is sovereign. Earth stands, engage, and be erased. The Zrathi armada surged forward. What followed was not a battle, but an extinction-tier clash of philosophies. The Zrathi fought like beasts, relentless, overwhelming, technologically superior. Their warships darkened the stars, surrounding the Ophion, and pounding it with kinetic barrages and energy lances. But the Ophion's design had anticipated attacks like this 10 millennia ago. Entire sections of the ship reconfigured mid-battle. Armor plates thicker than battleships slid into place. Counter-strike algorithms adjusted in real time. Helurk deployed its most devastating weapons, void shear cannons, which tore ships apart across quantum fields, and antimatter siphons that drained Zrathi reactors and exploded them from within. Each strike was precise, cold, surgical. Commander Lys Tyrannus led a coordinated assault from Earth's fleet, striking exposed Zrathi flanks while the Ophion drew their focus. Human forces were still outgunned, but not outmatched. They used their knowledge of the Zrathi's overconfidence, their predictable tactical aggression, and their disdain for lesser foes. Humanity had studied, and now humanity punished. As the battle raged, Dr. Voss uncovered deeper layers of Heliarch's memory vault. Within it was a chilling revelation. The Ophion had fled a civil war not just among humans, but between builders and something else, a faction that believed power should belong only to the strongest, the most ruthless. The Zrathi didn't just want the Ophion. They were trying to finish a war their ancestors lost. One by one, Zrathi ships fell. The Karvek Rend, encircled by Ophion drones and Earth's surviving cruisers, attempted to ram the Worldship. But Voss, now fully merged with Heliarch's tactical array, issued a final command. Burn the sky. The Ophion's core weapon fired. A beam of collapsed matter compressed into a singularity wave. The Karvek Rend never had a chance. It evaporated, mid-charge disintegrating into ionized vapor, its remaining escort craft scattering in retreat. The silence afterward was total. Galactic observers watching secretly from long-range arrays documented every second. The message was clear. The builders had returned, and Earth would never be prey again. The smoke of shattered warships drifted silently across Neptune's orbit. The wreckage of the Zrathi armada floated in pieces, a haunting reminder of what happens when arrogance challenges legacy. Earth had not only survived, it had risen. The Ophion, now fully operational, no longer resembled a relic. It was awake, active, and answering only to its rightful heir. Dr. Arlen Voss, once a scientist chasing myths, now stood as the de facto commander of humanity's most powerful artifact. But she wasn't alone. She had awoken more than a ship. She had reawakened a civilization's memory. Heliarch had completed full archival restoration. Entire libraries of builder knowledge, technologies, histories, and lost sciences streamed into Earth's data networks. What humanity once was, and what it had sacrificed, became clear. They weren't merely descendants of an ancient power. They were its continuation. Commander Lys Tyrannus met with Earth's Unified Council in orbit over the Worldship's dorsal platform. For the first time, Earth's leaders spoke not of defense but of destiny. The Ophion's logs told a tale of a galaxy once governed by a federation of builder worlds, 37 star systems once interconnected by a quantum relay network. And humanity had been the linchpin. The architects, the peacekeepers, the enforcers. But civil war and betrayal fractured it all, and the Ophion had fled, carrying not just refugees, but the very DNA of their civilization's future. The Zrathi were remnants of those who had broken away, who had believed in domination over stewardship. They had spent millennia rewriting the past, erasing the builders from galactic history. They told their young that humans were myths, dead relics from a failed experiment. Now the galaxy would learn otherwise. Word of the Zrathi defeat spread, like wildfire. Distant species, once neutral or indifferent to humanity, turned their sensors towards Sol. Cautious emissaries reached out. Former enemies sent urgent inquiries. Some feared the Builders' return, others hoped for it. All understood one thing: the power balance had shifted, and Earth now stood on ground ancient and unshakable. Dr. Voss stood before the Ophians' command spire, transmitting a simple message across ancient builder channels, still dormant in deep space arrays. To all who can hear this, we are humanity. We are the Builder's blood. We remember what you tried to erase, and we are not coming to rule. We are coming to reclaim. The Dark Age ends now. The transmission echoed across the void, awakening relay satellites long thought dead. Deep within, forgotten systems, ruins stirred. Automated systems blinked to life. Vaults opened. And in the silent depths of space, the Builder network began reactivating itself. The Zrathi weren't defeated. They were finished. The throne they tried to steal had never been abandoned. It had been guarded in silence, entrusted to time, and to bloodlines that would endure the long night. Now the night was over. Earth no longer needed permission. Humanity had returned, not as upstarts or survivors, but as the rightful architects of the stars. The galaxy would remember the truth. The Builders never left. They were just waiting.